Joining us again on our show tonight is Amanda Pare. And Amanda, the Mama Coach Lloydminster is your title, and you're really you can help with all things with babies and toddlers and anything related to behavior. And one of the things we're going to talk about is just as these new little ones are ready to come into the world, and that's if you start to have early labor at home and how to manage it. So obviously this would be different if it was your first child as compared to a second or third child.
Yes, for sure, definitely.
Okay, let's talk about if it's your first child. What are some of the things that you should, maybe not just run to the hospital for, and think you got to go right away?
So if it's your first child, I suggest taking a prenatal class if you can. This can kind of help walk you through those kind of the birth process and what to expect and when to go to the hospital, as well as managing at home in those early stages of labor. That's often, it can be anywhere from a few hours to a few days. So that's a long time to kind of cope with the pain at home. So some ways that we can manage this pain at home is through water. So have a nice warm relaxing bath, have a couple if you need to. If your water hasn't broken, a tub is totally safe. I also suggest putting a yoga mat or a towel on the bottom of the shower. If you have a removable shower head, just putting it right above the lower back can often relieve some of that back pain that you're having. And just get on your hands and knees. Your spouse can help you run the water on your back. Often feels very good. If you have an exercise ball, you can sit on the exercise ball and just opening your hips up. Gravity can kind of help, swaying back and forth, leaning over on a bed or a couch can often feel comfortable for a mom as well. Some other ways is we talk about the hip squeeze. This one is really good for that lower back pain, as well as that pelvic pressure that we start to feel in early labor. So often I'll get a mama to sit backwards on a chair or on her hands and knees on a bed or lean over the back of a couch and just get her partner to put his hands, the palm of his hands on each side of her hips and just give a good squeeze every time she gets a contraction, which can kind of help relieve some of that pressure. Another thing we suggest is counter pressure. So either using 2 tennis balls or you can just use your fists and just putting pressure on either side of the spine on her lower back, just to relieve some of that back pressure just above her bum there. And a rolling pin can also work if you have a rolling pin at home, even in labor or even not in labor, just in later pregnancy with all that back pain. You can use the rolling pin, just put some pressure and just roll up and down on her back.
A little massage almost. Now, if you've had 2 children or 3 children and you think, whatever, I can wait this out, do you think that's a good idea, or is it still, it could be the same thing happening for someone in a later pregnancy as their first pregnancy?
Yes, absolutely. So often, first-time mom, it can take longer, but every pregnancy is so different as well. I often will tell the moms to look at their pregnancy individually, what they're comfortable with, maybe with their history of their last delivery, and what their doctor suggests, for sure. A good rule of thumb that we use is called the 5-1-1. So for contractions, if the contractions stop you in your tracks, take your breath away, you can't sleep, you can't really, you're trying to find ways to manage with the pain at home, that's a good indication that you're in labor. The 5-1-1 rule is when you're contracting every 5 minutes, they're lasting a minute for at least an hour, that's a good time to know when to come in.
Okay, time to go. Okay, Amanda, well, thank you very much. And again, if somebody wants more information, what's the best way to reach out to you?
So my Facebook page, the Mama Coach Amanda Pare, Lloydminster, as well as Instagram, I have Messenger on there, and our website, themamacoach.ca.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.